So I just want to say this is going to be my impromptu speech, and it's on a Disney quote from The Lion King. Everybody has a life story. I mean, it doesn't have to be little, it doesn't have to be big, but I think everybody has something that's happened to them or multiple things that happen to them to make them into the people they are today. I mean, it doesn't have to be traumatic, but I think everybody can agree that when certain things happen, it could shape them into becoming who they are. For me, my life story is based off my sister. My sister is my everything. She's my world. And years back, she was diagnosed with leukemia, and it's still hard just thinking about it today. But thankfully, I was able to save her life through a bone marrow transplant. And through that whole experience, even though it was really tough going through chemo and everything, I was able to make me a better person. I learned to value life. I learned to appreciate everything, especially with her that, we only have so many numbered days. And it's just, it's so important that we make sure that we're just doing the best and being the best that we can. There was a quote that was given in The Lion King and was spoken by Rafiki, and that quote goes, "Any story worth telling is worth telling twice." I think it's really important because I think having this message, especially with my message with leukemia or the story of cancer, is really important just to share with as many people. And by that, I just want to give two main points. The first main point I just want to talk about is when you're sharing the same story twice, such a huge story, you're reaching more people. More people you can kind of reach out to, talk to, and tell them, what it is you're trying to express. And the second main point I just want to say is when you are telling kind of this story, it helps you kind of really think about in your head, understand this is what happened and this is why it's important. So first, I'm just going to talk about telling the same story twice and how it's reaching more people. When you first tell a story to some person, you're telling them, you're listening, and they hear you. But when you're giving the same story a second time, or even a third or a fourth, even though regardless of the situation, you're telling it again and you're hearing it again, but you're telling more people about it. I mean, every time you tell the story, it doesn't necessarily have to be the same, but when you're reaching more people, it ultimately has the same message. So when you're reaching more people are able to hear it and think hey, well, just because hey, with the situation, since she values life so much, maybe I should look at the same. Maybe I should live my life just valuing everybody and just my actions and everything like that. So I think it's really great in order to, to reach out to people and tell them, so more people are ultimately aware of, camera went off. Anyways, more people are aware of what you are saying, and so you can help spread a good message. Next, I'm just going to talk about telling the story and how you're able to understand yourself or value it. When you are telling this story to multiple people, multiple different times, you hear it sometimes where people, it could get old, but for me, I think back on it, it's a learning experience, wow, this is how far I've come. I've taken, because during that time I was thinking, why me? Why did this happen to me out of all people? But now I look at it as a learning experience. Even though my sister had cancer, it's wow, well, I feel this situation only helped me become a better person. I'm stronger. I'm able to go through this stuff. And just to value just the story in itself, it was a really low time in my life, but looking at me now and I'm sharing to other people, this is how important it is for me, and I'm trying to reach out and just make sure establish these better connections and just say bad things happen. It's just the inevitable, but just making the best out of it is just ultimately what's going to help you through the whole process. So today I talked about just the main importance of why we should, if it's a good story, cancer is not necessarily a good story, but if it's a good story with good meaning, why we should share it twice, why we should tell more people, why we should make sure that when we're telling it, we understand ourselves so we really know why we're communicating to other people how important this message is. This message helped, shape me, and with telling other people, I just hope that they're able to understand why it shapes, or what has happened in their life to help make them who they are today too. So regardless of the situation, I'm sure everybody can examine and think like this is what makes me me. But I think if everybody can draw the connection between, you know, the good or bad, or like what had happened, and they can say like, hey, like I think it kind of made my life a little bit better, and it helps you understand life, I think you're ultimately going to be a happier person. And I believe, and I'm sure a lot of people believe, like happiness is just like the root of just making your life 10 million times better. And that is my speech.